Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the VMblog Expert Interview Series. And today we're being joined by Ben Lerner, the co-founder and CEO of Espresso AI. Ben, it's great to have you on the show today.
Great to be here, David. Thank you for having me.
Now, on VMblog, we featured Espresso AI not too long ago when the main focus was optimizing Snowflake. But for those who aren't familiar with the company and its technology, can you just give a quick overview and explain what Espresso AI does at a high level?
Yeah, so one good way to think about what we do is calling it Kubernetes for data warehouses. When you look at data warehouses, Snowflake being the main example that we've worked with so far, you typically are running a lot of workloads across a lot of different clusters. And unlike the way that workloads are scheduled in data centers, they tend to be statically assigned. Your dbt jobs always run on your dbt clusters, your BI jobs always run on your BI cluster, and so on. What Espresso does is use the kind of technology that internally at Google, we use Borg, externally it's Kubernetes, to shuffle things around and to make sure that you're really getting as much performance as you possibly can out of the hardware that you're paying for. The upshot is you sort of turn us on, nothing really changes except your bills go down a lot.
Now, I guess for folks who don't know, the founding team over there at Espresso was doing some cutting edge AI work at Google before launching the company. Are there any methods that you guys were applying at Google that are relevant to what Espresso AI is up to today? And if so, can you talk about any of that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think there's kind of two classes of things that apply to what we're doing now. The first is the general AI approach to how do you train models, how do you solve complicated models with problems. One of the reasons that what we're doing hasn't been done until now is that you actually need a lot of information about both the workloads you're running and the capacity of the compute that you have up and running to be able to do these sorts of matching algorithms. Like basically, I want to know I have this query come in. What resources does it need? How much CPU? How much memory? How much I/O? And is there a machine in the cluster that can satisfy this or needs to spin up something new? It's pretty straightforward, but for Kubernetes and for Borg, all of this is hand annotated, and you also have access to the underlying hardware. For us, we've had to sort of interpolate all of these things using ML modeling, and that's a pretty deep technical challenge. The other thing that I think this has really been pivotal is just the idea of how data centers are managed at scale and how cloud compute workloads are managed at scale. I keep referencing Borg because I spent a number of years working with that as all of the engineers at Google have. And so the idea of taking that and applying it to data warehousing is pretty natural for us because we sort of looked at it and we were like, oh my God, this is how we were doing things, 10 years ago or more. We should really modernize this.
Now, shift gears a little bit, and I want to talk about you guys have an announcement that you're making. You guys, I believe, just launched a Databricks support. And
Yes.
to me, it makes a lot of sense, obviously, that you're optimizing data warehouses like Snowflake, that Databricks support would just, be the next thing. Let's dig into that a little bit. Let's talk about what that announcement is, and can you discuss some of the key benefits that might be there for Databricks users?
Yeah, so we're focusing specifically on Databricks SQL, which is Databricks' warehouse product, pretty analogous to Snowflake, growing super, super fast. They've, up something like 4x, 5x year over year. And really, the benefits are quite similar to our Snowflake product. It's a pretty direct application of the same technology. You plug us into your data warehouses, you turn us on. Everything keeps working exactly the same way as before. There's no degradations, there's no slowdown, there's no latency impact. But your utilization goes up and your bill goes down. We have some beta users today, and customers are seeing on the Databricks side anywhere from a 30% to a 70% reduction in their Databricks SQL costs.
That's pretty significant.
Yeah, the numbers get really big really fast.
So, you're making this announcement. How does Databricks and Espresso, work together? Is it a formal partnership integration, or can Espresso operate totally independently?
We, like with Snowflake, operate entirely on the customer side of things. So, from Databricks' perspective, it looks less like there's some sort of interface or some sort of API they're providing, and more like you and your team are just super efficiently routing everything and scaling things up and down, and sort of making the second by second real time decisions that our software makes to make sure things run as efficiently as possible. We're definitely part of the Databricks community, and we're going to be at events. We'll be at Databricks Summit next year, which we're looking forward to. But the software itself is entirely on the user side.
Using your company's expertise, I don't want to put you on the spot too much, but does Espresso have any plans in the future to optimize other things, for companies outside of even data warehouses?
Yeah, absolutely. So Databricks is obviously best known for their kind of Spark management platform. And so that's something that we're taking a close look at and likely will be on the roadmap for 2026. Um, Moving forward, we intend to really apply our techniques to cloud computing as a whole. So the sort of modeling that we do, I talked a little bit about how with Kubernetes, you have a bunch of hand annotated things, or a bunch of resource requirement annotations that come from developers. It turns out, even when you do have that, you can train models that know more about what's going on and what's going to happen and what things look like in practice to drive efficiency up even further. Hopefully, sometime I'll be back on the show announcing Kubernetes for Kubernetes as we scale to just make cloud compute generally more efficient.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'd obviously love to have you back and talk about that when the time comes. Ben, this has been great. I really appreciate you joining, talking to the VMblog audience in this way. But before I let you go, I want to make sure, if is there anything else that you want to talk about or that we haven't covered, or really, how can folks come and learn more about Espresso AI and either some of the things that we talked about or just other technology that you guys have, outside of this conversation?
Yeah, so our website is just espresso.ai. I used to have to spell it out, but ever since Sabrina Carpenter, pretty much everyone knows how to spell that. So that's been super helpful. The number one thing is if you are using Databricks SQL and you'd like to try out the new product, or if you're using Snowflake and you want to try out our existing product, come to the site. You can upload some metadata, and we have models we can run that will do a savings analysis and basically tell you, we think we can save you 20% or 40% or 80%, whatever the number is. And we turn that around really pretty quickly. On the technology side of things, we have a blog. It's got a little bit of write-ups on the sort of things we do. So there's some announcements there. This announcement will be there as well, but there's also stuff about scheduling theory, how our, what our models do and why, and all of that sort of stuff. That tends to be good reading if you're interested in that side of things. And finally, we're hiring if you're experienced in systems or machine learning. We're looking for staff level engineers. We're based out in New York, here in Williamsburg, and would love to chat. You can also just email me questions at I'm Ben at espresso.ai.
Yeah, that's great. Well, hey, I appreciate that. I'll try to add some of those links into the show notes below for folks. And yeah, once again, thanks for taking time out and talking with VMblog, and definitely look forward to our next conversation.
Yeah, same here. Really appreciate you taking the time as well.
All right, take care.